Let's get started. Slideshow. Let me check whether the mic is on or not. I think mic is on, so I think let's start the session down. So, hello everyone to the session. In this session, we are discussing about .NET, simply simplifying the modern web development. We will discussing about model web. We will discuss about model web development. Plus, we will discuss about what are the things if you are learning .NET and what is the feature of .NET, and we will discuss about .NET technology and all. So yeah, let's get started. So before starting, let me introduce myself. Hello everyone, my name is Mohit. I am a student doing major in CS and I'm in my final year, and I'm in my like pre-final year, and let's get started, right? So let's get into the next slide. I'm also Beta MLSA. As we already knew, we are discussing about, uh, as you know, we are discussing about .NET technology, and today in this session we will go through it, right? And yeah, let's get to the next slide, right? So let's get to the next slide. So yeah, so let me take the pen and let's talk about .NET. So as you're familiar with the icon, this is a Microsoft icon and this is a .NET. So the .NET is developed by Microsoft itself, right? So like it's an open source language, right? So let's talk about from early 2000, like I think around I guess 2002, Microsoft introduces or developed, we can say, the Microsoft.NET, right? So initially, it is an open source developer platform used to build various types of like web applications. Like when we say a web application, you can build any web application, whether it's desktop application, web application, mobile application. You can build even games and uh, cloud-based application, right? So as I told you, Microsoft developed this language in 2002. Sorry, let me erase this part and let me rewrite, right? So let me erase this part and let's rewrite. So Microsoft introduces this in 2002, right? So we can build various types of application, whether the application we are building, it can be for mobile or whether it's for cloud or whether it's for anything, you can build anything, right? So next, what we have, like in 2014, Microsoft moved to the open source. Like I already talked you about, like this is open source. So you guys can also see the code of this language. It is open source in 2014, I guess. Yeah, in 2014 it is open source. The .NET ecosystem is now is it is run by the open source team communities. People can contribute to the .NET and all, right? So in .NET we have like in open source we .NET have like different aspect, like you already familiar with these terms. Let me erase this. Erase all slide and here we go. Yeah, as you already familiar with, like you heard this term like .NET runtime, or you can heard about like ML.NET. So these are nothing but like dot runtime is the core runtime that power .NET application. We will discuss further how .NET application work and what is the roadmap and other things, right? And ML.NET, as the name suggests, like ML.NET is nothing but ML, like machine learning for net, is a type of community contribution are actively encouraged by Microsoft. Like you can go to the repo. I will share the link of this repo of .NET GitHub. You can go and see the code. I can also give a demonstration how, like you can go and see the code. Let me go to the Chrome and let's see. Let me discard this one and let's go on Chrome and let's see .NET code, uh, and let's see what is let's see the code. So .NET is a platform, right? So let me look. So it's an organization as we already familiar with, like it's an organization we have. They have like 17.48 something around like 18,000 people. So these are the repository you can see. The thing which I was talking earlier, runtime. So this is a GitHub repo for this. Let me open this. So the code is written in, I guess, C sharp. Let go back. Yeah. So you can go to the doc website for more details. But if you want to contribute to this, you can also contribute to these .NET frameworks. So there are some issues open. You can simply go to the labels and try to solve the good first issue. It's a easy, I guess. So I think in this we did not have any good first issue. Yeah, we have, but you can explore on as I already discussed. It is open source, like, so you can go and see the other things and other repository we have, right? So let's go back to the PPT part and let's discuss from this. So we are, yeah, right. So I already told out the history behind Microsoft .NET, develop open source, and what is and how we are using .NET for multiple application, right? So .NET is also .NET and like Java are like both offer like broad like opportunities. Like they have a lot of job role openings for .NET developers. Like and in this session we are discussing about the modern development, how you can start with .NET, right? So let's go to the next slide. So in this slide, as the name says, the evolution of .NET from framework to the net core. So .NET Core, right? So monolithic architecture, and then we have microservice architecture. Monolithic is nothing but suppose there is a Airbnb application, and let me erase this part and let me draw a diagram so that you guys can understand it, right? So let's take an example of Airbnb and let's discuss about what is monolithic application like. So in general, we have two things, like you already familiar what is monolithic and what is microservices. Microservices is nothing but in microservices, as the name suggests, we create different services. Suppose I want to build an application for let me erase this part. Suppose I want to build an application for the riding. Okay, what happened? Okay, zoom. Uh, let me zoom in. Okay, wait. Let me choose eraser. So suppose I want to build an application for the riding application. So what is microservices on this? In riding service application, suppose the food delivery application. Let's take an example of Zomato, right? In Zomato, we have different types of services. Like one, when we give, suppose this is a user, and this is the application of Zomato. The user is paying something, the user is selecting some address, the user is allowing the GPRS, the user is allowing the access the data and other things, right? So all these things, the payment and the location update and the searching and other things, like these are all our services, and these are have separate services. Instead of creating and bundle up a total application with these services, we are creating different services for we are creating so different for different services. We are creating a service, like, so this is like a like microservices. So the advantage of this, let me erase this part and let discuss about what is monolithic. As in slide you can say monolithic to modular, and the cross platform flexibility. As I already told, we can build web application, we can build cloud platform application, we can build mobile application with .NET, right? So we are talking about Zomato, and we are talking about the we are talking about the microservice architecture, right? So what are the advantages? So biggest advantage is scale up and scale down. Suppose in a festival time or some during the festival time, Zomato and other platform have higher number of people visit their application. The load is increasing. To handle this load, suppose there is some error, right? Or we have to increase the scale. So for increasing the scale or for upskilling for the increasing of the services, like suppose I want to scale the CPU, suppose I want to uh, change something. So it is very easier and the fast and most efficient way. Nowadays, most of the applications are using this microservice architecture because it is very convenient and it is more reliable as compared to monolithic, right? Monolithic is nothing but we are bundling something. Let me take the example of, suppose we are take the example of Airbnb, right? So in Airbnb, people can and user can and customer can book, right? So this is the Airbnb application, and this is the monolithic architecture. In monolithic architecture, what I'm saying, suppose this is the Airbnb application, we just deploy it over the internet, right? We do not care about where the application need to deploy. We were just talking about in general, right? So in Airbnb, we have two, three different things. Suppose I want to book a hotel. Suppose I want to book a room or a hotel, right? And I have to give a cash for the cash. For the cash and for all the transaction, we have a service over here. And for the other things, suppose if I want to withdraw something, I want to raise like a customer or a customer care or something related to the customer experience, we have other things, right? Other service. But these both services, two services, are bundled up in same, right? Instead of in microservices, what we are doing, we are making e-service because to increase the efficiency and the utilization and to upskill, or sorry, to up, not upskill, to upscale when the traffic is come, right? In monolithic, what we are doing, we are bundling up together. So it's very hard to upscale to hard, sorry, hard to upscale it. And it is very like a tricky start to, it is very like difficult task to manage the all the services like instead of in the monolithic, right? So let's talk about in the context of .NET, right? So let me erase this all and let's go. So let's take the pen, right? So as we already discussed what is monolithic, I already give example of monolithic microservices and all in general, right? So what is the line saying? .NET started as monolithic framework. So earlier .NET is starting as a monolithic framework, but now it is evolved to the modern platform, modular platform with .NET Core. I already showed the code of the .NET Core. It is present in the .NET organization. You guys can check and go and see what the code is doing under the hood, right? So first it is the monolithic, but now it's modular. So modular is also good. So when we talk about modular, right? So it is very lighter and faster, right? So the things, the changing we are doing in the application, these changes are very lighter and faster, right? So .NET provide this. And the other most important thing is cross-platform flexibility. Original tied to Windows .NET Core enabled developers to build and deploy .NET application on Windows, Linux, Mac OS, Mac OS, and expanding to the .NET reach, right? The basic idea of this, like as I already told, Java and .NET, these both are languages like we can take the example of .NET, we are discussing about it. So we can build any application, right? You can build a mobile application. Suppose if I want to build a mobile application with the help of Node.js, I cannot build, right? So for mobile application, for mobile development, we have different languages and other frameworks and all. Like we have Flutter, we have like Dart and other things, right? So it's very easy for the developer if they are choosing .NET, they have different job role opening out there. They have different opportunities. In India, we have like more than 20,000 jobs on the .NET framework, right? And let's go to the next slide. And the key feature and the performance, like and the key features and the performance and the cross-platform and open source. For the last part, what is open source? I mean, sorry, what is not open source? I already told that Microsoft introduces languages 2002 and they open source it, right? So it has a big community. You guys can also go there and try to contribute, try to talk to the maintainers, how the code run under the hood, and you can also like learn more about .NET in general. Like you can go and develop a leverage a vibrant community. Like I already mentioned that it's open source means developer can contribute, even student can also contribute. Try to contribute, try to go and see how the working of the code is written on uh, in .NET, and try to communicate with other maintainers and all. Try to pick good first issue if you're going to open source. Like if you're reading this .NET repository, and try to contribute. Like it's open source, right? So anyone can see the code and anybody can contribute to. Not only developer, even student and newcomers are also welcome, right? So performance, right? As I already discussed in the previous slide about how the .NET is shifted to monolithic to modular code, and we already knew modular is more lighter and faster. So performance is obviously is very efficient for the scalability and making uh, it. suitable for the demanding application and workload. So what is workload? So as I already gave an example of like the Airbnb, the Zomato application, the food delivery application, right? So what happened? Suppose there is something event happen or some event or some festival happening at that time, the users spike up, right, in the platform. So to run the application fluently, instead fluently and instead of instead of like instead of expanding like the cost in developers, the the developer or the application, right, instead of like consumer behavior, like suppose the load has come, the application got down, so consumer interaction will be bad for the brand, right? It's a big no for the companies, right? So because at the end of the day they are selling their services to the customer is not happy with the service. So doesn't matter whether the application is good or not, whether they are using fancy framework or nothing, but end of the day they are not buying, right? So that's the reason, that's the thing about the workloads. Like workload is nothing but like suppose a festival or something happen at that time, the workload increase, the user increases, so we have to increase the server, we have to increase, or we have to uh, there's a bug and there are a lot of users using this application, right? So we have to check and we have to correct this. So .NET is, we already discussed a modular, so it's very easy to for the shipment, right? For the developer, it's very easy to identify and debug the code, right? I already discussed .NET advantage. .NET key features is one of the key feature is also that the code debugging and the code correction is very good in .NET, right? So it's very reliable thing that if someone is learning .NET or exploring .NET for the job opportunity, so like there are plenty of job opportunity in .NET, right? People or student or developers already know about like Node.js and other, but there is another market for .NET. So you guys can go to the .NET dog or to the Microsoft Learn. Microsoft also provides some free lessons and they already have created a good documentation as it's open source, so you can check and see how you can learn .NET and other things, right? So let's move to the next slide. So next slide we have the .NET SDK and Visual Studio, right? Visual Studio. So I will tell how you can create and manage all the application which you are thinking to build over the .NET, right? So let give a brief introduction. Like let's give a brief introduction roadmap how you can get started with .NET if you are going in your local system, right? So first, we discuss about .NET and already know about like .NET and other things, right? So suppose let's talk about little bit about .NET, how you can go and install .NET and other things, right? So first you have to go to the website. I will provide the link of the website in chat. You guys can go and let's see the practical demonstration of the .NET SDK and how you can install in the VS Code, right? Let's go to that link. So first we have to install the dot uh, .NET SDK. So for this you have to go to the page of Microsoft.NET and let's go and let's see how you can build a application in .NET. Right. So let's go. Let me go back to the slide. Let me discard this one. Let's see how we can go. Let's go to the Ignito tab. Let me give 1 second. I guess we have two tabs open, right? So let's go in this tab only. So let's go to the dot net documentation. Suppose I already told how you can install. So I will share this link in the chat option. So we will see how the .NET installation, getting started with .NET. Already all things are provided by Microsoft, right? So this is the website like Microsoft.net. So I will share this link, and if you guys are following me, you can go and see what's happening, right? So this is the link, and right. So you can just give an overview as we already discussing about what is .NET. So you can so .NET is a free open source application platform supported by Microsoft, right? So we already discussed this. Let's see how we can download and install. So first we have to install the .NET. For this, let's see the version and other things. So select the .NET version to use. So there are a lot of versions like I already mentioned in the slide SDK. So first we have to download the SDK. SDK is nothing but SDK is like a software development kit, like right. So the this kit like include this kit like includes like tools which we needed to build and to run the .NET application, right? So let me download this. Let's go to the bottom of the page and let's see where is. So this is the download and install button over here. So let's click on install on window. So choose the runtime. So I already mentioned about what is runtime. So these are things which is written. So let's click. Now we have to select Visual Studio Code, like for which we are like uh, choose the second step would choose an editor or IDE like for programming. So most probably use VS Code because it is more lightweight editor and we can say it's easy to use. People already all also use like JetBrains or other, but instead of using Jet and other, we can simply go to the Visual Studio Code because it is also managed by Microsoft. We already do, right? So just click on the .NET. So this is the instruction which is given. Suppose your window is 64-bit, 86-bit, you can uh, go in the system setting and try to download and try to run this. So this is the official web page and other thing which I shared with you. And this is the Microsoft.learn. So you can learn more about .NET or other technology which are related to Microsoft, right? So I already give the link, so you can just go and download it. Let's go to our slide. So we are here, right? So we are in this page and we are discussing about how we can start it with this. I already share and I already told the step. The first step would be go to the Learn website or Microsoft Learn. I have shared this link. I will also share this link in the WhatsApp group and the WhatsApp community, right? So you just go there and download and install the .NET Framework SDK, right? And try to build. So SDK is nothing but like I already mentioned, it includes a lot of like runtime environments and other things which are needed to run the .NET application. So let's go to the page. Okay. So I give the instruction, right? So you have download the SDK, then you choose the editor and all. Then you can go and like create new project and try to run the project. And if you think that project has some value and other things, try to try to uh, share with the maintainers or try to share with the Microsoft community, like Microsoft Learn. Something we have the community, you can go to the feedback session, all the things you can give your application and all. So this is the Visual Studio integration. Visual Studio is nothing but like a Power IDE for developers. We already know how to use VS Code, and you can VS Code also support the .NET development because for as I already discussed earlier, it is very suitable for the debugging and for the testing tools. Right. So let me erase this. So let's move to the next slide. So in this slide, we are discussing about seamless integration with Azure Cloud Native applications. So there are a lot of terms. Let's discuss each term one by one, right? So let me erase this one and let's discuss about what is. Okay, let me go back to the previous slide and let's talk about this one. So this is seamless integration with Azure and cloud native application, right? So what does this mean? So .NET, this is lower at can go. Azure, we already discussed like previous like session we are discussing about Azure AI, and I already shared the Azure platform link how you can go and create your account in this and how you can choose a student tier and try to develop the application and try to deploy on Azure, right? Seamless integration means so instead it is very easy to integrate, right? And cloud native application means like uh, it's already mentioned .NET make easy to build cloud native application using Azure services like App Service, Azure Function, Azure Cosmic DB. Cosmic DB database, right? We already knew it. So in next session, like we can discuss about Azure's different types of services. But in previous, I think we have discussed about the AI service. So let me tell what the line means, right? So cloud native application is are nothing but cloud native is like application which are related to the cloud. So we have a term called CNCF. Like if you folks are not familiar with this, it is nothing but it's a cloud native computing foundation. So it's a big umbrella. In this, let me erase and let me draw some suitable diagram so that you can understand because uh, it's you can see the slide is already messed up, right? So let me take this time. Let's take another color and let me draw the part. So what is cloud native applications, right? The cloud native applications are nothing but like cloud native application are these applications which are related to the cloud. And in this, we have a term called CNCF. CNCF is nothing but it is a cloud native computing foundation, which is run by a lot of people. It's open source community and it's open source and it is an umbrella. Like, so this is umbrella. We have different types of applications or we have different types of projects or which are used in production. Suppose the big one, which is K8s, right? K8s, nothing but like Kubernetes. We will discuss about it further. So Kubernetes is related to managing the containers and all. So what is container? Container is the term which is like related to Dockerization of the application. And why we need Dockerization? Because many times you heard this, many developers, there are a lot of meme also like that it runs on my machine, but it doesn't run on the other developer machine, right? So it is nothing but it is Dockerization is uh, um, so Dockerization is nothing but like Dockerization is like in simple term. Suppose I have built the application, I have Dockerized, so I have containerized, right? So Docker is nothing but Docker is a tool, or you can say a application, right? Which is managing the containers, right? So what is containers? Let's go and discuss about what is containers. So let me erase this all the jargons and let's discuss about containers in little brief because like we are discussing about like a .NET and now we have the cloud native application term. So I'm just giving a brief example of what is like containerization, right? We already discussed the K8s and other things, right? Suppose this is an application which I built. I have containerizes. Containerization is nothing but it is like suppose I built a simple calculator application and I want to share this code with my friend. So I just go in Docker, I have just containerize it, right? So what is the meaning of containerization? Suppose I generate a Docker file. Now, if I make a Docker file and this Docker file is run by my friend or something, so in that Docker file, what I am written all the things for this. Suppose the application is in Python. So first step would be from this, there is a like a standard of writings. Now you can use AI and other things, and we have a lot of platform which write Docker file and all for the they just simply wrote a script from where like and then we choose the desktop or window ubuntu and all, then we choose a python application, then we use the python library and all, then we also tell in which folder the application is on. So developer did not and my friend did not need to install any software or other things in their system. Just I give the docker file, it simply run and the application will run, right? So instead of sharing and installing many things, simply just containerizes and make it uh, just containerizing with the help of Docker and try to give the Docker file to the friend, or we can just post to the Docker repository. A Docker repository is nothing but like it is a similar kind of like GitHub repository. GitHub repository, we have a lot of code. In Docker, we have a lot of Docker images. Like you can create a container application, then create a Docker file of it, then it will create a Docker image, and these Docker images will go to the Docker repository. Right. So GitHub is for the source code, and Docker is for the images. You can see the less size of image, and suppose there's a Ubuntu window Node.js. So the size of it depend the on depend on the tech stack which you are using. So it's depend on that size the image, right? So we have simple command docker build, docker run, and docker. And under the hood, Docker is running Docker daemon. Docker daemon is a heart of Docker. So let's not go to there. Let's focus on this, right? So instead of going Docker in deep, I already told about its cloud native application and all, and how .NET making this easy to build the cloud native application. We have Docker, like we have Azure services like App Service, Azure Function, and Azure Cosmic Database, right? So let's talk about serverless computing. So let me erase this slide once again, and let me change the pen to the yellow color. Wait. Let me change the pen to the yellow color. And let's talk about what is serverless computing. Azure Function provides a serverless platform for building and deploying event-driven application, making it easy and scalable and managed. So we already discussed about scalability and all. I gave the example of Zomato and other application when something happen, when some event has occurred, suppose festival and all, the sales will increase, the customer and all, like the workload we already discussed. It's very easy to manage, right? The code and all, and it is very easy to for deploying the event-driven application. What is event-driven application? So event-driven application is nothing but suppose there is an event happen, and when the event happen, there's a certain thing or certain task is written. Suppose if I open the PC, say suppose if I open the Chrome, so I have fixed a task, right? Whenever my Chrome open, my YouTube session will already open, right? Or it going to open. It goes to open, right? So it's a task, right? So these all are the event-driven tasks. Suppose if something happened, then something happens. So these are some like this is the meaning of like event-driven application, right? So next we have microservices. Like previous to previous slide, we discussed about what is microservices, what is monolithic application, and how these are different, and how how the .NET from monolithic to the modular, and what are the advantage, the shipment, the fast utilization, and other things, debugging and all .NET provide, right? So monolithic is nothing but like we already discussed about microservices, right? So instead of repeating again, we already familiar with microservices. Instead of binding up all the services into the application, we create different services, different microservices for the application, so we can easily manage it, right? So Azure Kubernetes KAS, Azure Kubernetes Service AKS provide managed Kubernetes platform deploying and managing containerized microservices. So we talk about what is the containerization of application. So while we are containerizing the application, we have containerize the microservices, right? So all these things which is done, we can done all this thing, and we can all this thing we can manage in the AKS. AKS nothing but Kubernetes service, Azure Kubernetes service. I already discussed in previous session what is Azure AI. In that, I discussed about Azure platform in general, how you can go, how you can create your account, how you can choose for that free tier and other things, how you can test and play with Azure in 30 days or something. For the student, I think they have some if you are a student, you have to get a developer pack. There are a lot of things in GitHub developer. One of the thing I guess Azure, like in my time, like in previous year, I guess Azure is there. So you can go and play with around the Azure and try to build application in .NET. So I can give a good project for this. You can build the application in .NET. Try to deploy on the application on. Try to Dockerize. Try to containerize the application and try to deploy the application in AKS, right? Try to deploy the application in Kubernetes cluster in the platform Azure, right? So it could be a great project for a portfolio, as well as you can write a blog how you can do this, and how you what are the things and things you tackle in this while the building application, while using .NET, how you create the application .NET, and how you like containerize it, and how things so and so forth, right? So let's go to the next slide and let's discuss what we have. So this is the image of sorry for the bad image. Like I simply copy the image from the internet. So let's discuss about this image, like microservice architecture, right? I already told about microservice already, so you guys can see what it is, right? So embracing modern architecture, microservices, and containerization, right? Kubernetes is I discussed K8's managed by CNCF, and it is developed by Google. Give to CNCF, and CNCF is now managing. It's a big second biggest open source project. One, I think one is Linux, and after Linux, the Kubernetes is one of the biggest open source project, which is run by a lot of community members. In community members, we have different types of SIG in SIG is nothing but like suppose this is K8 and with this is SIG. SIG is nothing but SIG is special interest group. Suppose I have special interest in microservices, so I will join K8's microservices. Suppose I have special interest in the contribution part, so I will go to the contributes part. Suppose if I want to contribute to the inner code and the security, I will go to that part K8 SIG security. Suppose I want to contribute to the API thing, I will go to the K8 API, right? So it's a special interest group. Like people are special interest group, as the name suggests, special interest group. Special interest group, right? Special interest group. I see, right? Special interest group. Yes, SIG, special interest group, SIG. So SIG is like special interest group, like people who are like interest on a specific thing, on a special thing. Like suppose I have interest in API, so I will go to the K8 API and try to contribute. Like it's open source, right? So you guys can check and see what is the behind the code and contribution, because we already discussed a lot of things previous slides. What is containerization and all. So instead of uh, like I can told example, but we because of the time constraint, like I go to the next slide and try to discuss there. We already discussed containerization, microservices, and all. Let's move to the next slide and let's see what we have. So, asynchronous programming pattern in .NET. So, you guys already familiar with this async and what is asynchronous programming, what is synchronization programming, programming, right? So, you heard this term in JS, I guess, JavaScript. So, let's discuss the pattern in .NET. So async wait, task, LTPL, task, parallel library, and reactive extensions, right? So first, let's async and wait. So this is recommended pattern for writing async code in .NET. So in Java, we have other thing. Sorry, in JavaScript, we have async, but hmm, but in this .NET, we have other thing, right? So it is like as a definition, it is recommended for writing code in parallel, allow write code asynchronous code in more reliable, readable, and maintainable way. So the basic idea is readable and maintainable, right? Second thing, we have TPL. So TPL is nothing but TPL is referred to the task parallel libraries. Like these libraries provide the classes method for the running task concurrently. So what is concurrently? So running two tasks, like suppose we have a CPU and something RAM. Suppose there is a application which is running under OS. So multiple application, like multiple tasks can run. Suppose there's a task of opening Chrome, there's a task of opening Firefox. So multiple tasks can easily go on the concurrently. You can go and see what is Golang. So Golang is also like little bit used for the concurrency and other things, right? So simplify the parallel programming. What is parallel programming? You can multiple things are happening, right? So parallel means like already know parallel lines and parallel programming. Like parallel programming is mean like multiple things are happening instead of one thing. In like simple, we are waiting for one task. So suppose this input task happen, then we will go to another, right? Parallel, every task will run, right? So parallelly, nothing much, right? So next we have reactive intense extension, right? So it's a framework like for working async data streams, enabling handle events, data more efficient. We already discussed about this. So this is the hyperlink, I guess. I pasted, so you can just go to the this Microsoft Learn slash asynchronous programming.net pattern. So it's a good readable blog. I read while I was making this PPT. I read this blog, so it's very good. So you guys can go and see what are the things and what are the best practices all written on this blog, right? So let's move to the next slide. So next we have modernizing legacy application with .NET. So this is a cool example, a cool like image which I find in internet. Like it's a tech stack for .NET application for the modernization. So we already familiar with this Mun, Moon, and React. Suppose we are already know what is Mun stack and other things, Java and all. But there's very few people know about .NET tech stack. So I just go to the net and uh, I just go to the net and try to download a perfect image so that you guys can see what are the opportunity. There are a lot of opportunity in .NET field. Like suppose if you are learning .NET, you can apply for different roles, right? So I already told the example like more than 10 to 20,000 jobs are in like Naukri and Indeed. So instead of mugging all the like all of the all of the uh, a standard tech stack. Like try to switch to .NET and try to see what is the magic of .NET, why the companies are using .NET, and what is the reason behind Microsoft developed this. So Microsoft developed the .NET and open source. So it's a big example, right? Try to explore it, right? So what we have, like we have Docker, we have Docker, we have Google Cloud, then we have Docker, .NET Core, we have K8s, we have Databricks, Angular, Postgres, MySQL, Amazon Redshift, a lot of things, React. You can explore it. So yeah, and then we have other things also in this list, right? So let's go to the other. Let's go to the next slide and let's see what we have. So next we have the .NET Vibrant ecosystem. I already told about .NET open source and all. It's a big community. You guys can see and go to uh, uh, NCN. Mm, right. So these all are the things you can go and try to open source. These are open source projects you can go and try to uh, interact with the .NET community, right? So the future of .NET, I already told the cloud native focus, the AI, ML, the brown and the bronze, like the web assembly is one of the topic in cloud native. In other slide, we will discuss, in other session, we will discuss what is web assembly error. And we already discussed cloud platform and all. So let's move to the next slide. So I think the slide has happened. So thank you so much everyone for joining this session. I hope this session meant a lot and you learn a lot of. So if you learn, try to give a post and tag MLSA and other things for the amazing session. And I will see you in the next session. Let me close and let me stop the recording of this meeting, right? So here we go. Let me first let stop sharing. I guess I stopped sharing and let's let's stop recording. So stop.